I'm competitive, and I want to win, and I want the customers to pick me. That's how we win. I don't want to win before I deserve it. I've learned that, so I had to get better, and by not quitting, which is, my superpower, I will get there and I will beat my competitors long after they've lost interest, gone on to something else, retired, quit, whatever. I'm still here and I'm really, really good by now. And, we're going to dominate in our marketplace.
So it always goes back to my mom. So my mom was my biggest fan. She always said, never, never give up. And we would go downtown, and I'll never forget it. Like, she used to make shamrock cards, and she would do little hearts, and we would go down, and I'll never forget, because I was young, and I'm in front of, obviously, the grocery store downtown, Dover Plains, New York, and all my friends would be there, and I'm outside selling $1 shamrock cards. But man, does that, get away from fear and, overcoming things. So I saw that through my mom, and she was just trying to get, extra money. And so I started actually mowing lawns in the trailer park. So we lived in the largest trailer park in New York, 200 plus trailers. And I was like, man, we can make some money here. So I think that comes from again, necessity, right? Using my imagination, building things and becoming resourceful. So I was working for a builder when I moved down to South Carolina, and the painter was, pressure washing the houses, and I was always looking to make extra money. And so I asked the builder, what are you paying the painter to do it? He's like, well, I'll pay you $100 to do it. And so I knew that he was paying him a lot more. But I was like, sure, extra $100, I could probably do 3 or 4 houses a week. And so me and my wife watched our first house. It was 3 to 3,500 square feet. It took us 8 hours to do. And so the economy started going down. It was me and his 2 sons, and work started slowing down, and we were the only ones left. We were doing all the prep work, sweeping out houses, and so eventually they ended up shutting down, and I put a pressure washer and a water tank in the back of my truck. And this is before auto detailing was a mobile thing, and I started going to offices and I started mobile auto detailing. And then customers were like, hey, can you pressure wash my house? And I was like, I had no idea. I was like, I think we could do that. But through that, I learned so many valuable lessons and helping people and seeing the team grow. And I learned my style of management needed to change, right? I had to change before my business would change. And so when we started the licensing program, it was Kevin, the owner of the New York branch. He actually grew up with me in the trailer park. And so he came down, worked for us for 2 months. We had huge projects in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I want to bless him. So ended up selling him my first truck, set him up in New York, and I knew I had a model, right? I knew I had a foundation. And so sure enough, we started in New York, and boom, he was off to the races. I taught him the sales system, and he was crushing it up there. And then that's where Sales Boost was born, because I knew I needed to train these guys, and they needed to come see me once a year, see the operations, whatever was new. And so I started Sales Boost, and the results were phenomenal. They were doubling, tripling their average ticket. I went to one gentleman, and he grew by 230%. And so where Sales Boost really helped out was hiring the people, having a 3-week training program, and then just seeing them flourish, right, with the team and growing them as leaders in their companies through Sales Boost.
By teaching, you get better. I mean, you realize when you stand in front of a group and you're giving, some presentation, but these are live people, and they're gonna test your ideas, and they're gonna ask questions, and you better know your stuff. And by training people, I've become better myself. And as you mature, I'm 59 years old, and I probably wouldn't have said this when I was 35, but it's not so much what you get out of your business, it's who you become. Being a business owner is a great way to become a better person, because you're faced with so many obstacles and so many problems, so many challenges, and if you don't get better, your business will never be better than you are. Here at Contractor Nation, we're a platform to build service lines through contractors, and what we do is we help contractors succeed. That's what we do. one of our team members here, Stephanie Pellizzari, learned about Pat and how Pat has this following and does sales training. And there's so many contractors that need help. They're looking for a lifeline. They're looking for somebody help me, and they look up to Pat. And so he said, hey, if we put Pat together with the resources we have here at Contractor Nation, we can help a lot more people.
My first impression with Larry was, you called me up on the phone and I was like, man, who's Larry Janesky? Looking at the YouTube channel, watching the videos, I'm like, man, this is a guy I need to know. And so when you invited me up here to Contractor Nation, I was blown away just by the staff. Larry was, willing to share everything that he's got going on here at Contractor Nation, and meeting Larry and like everything that he's done and how he's built teams around him and teams that like are excelling, and it's just been amazing to see what he's built.
If Pat was in, I'm in. I haven't met too many trainers, and people like Pat who love what they do and they love teaching and are so good at communicating and building rapport with other people. So I knew we could build something around this. So really, I was selling him.
Yeah, it was really scary for me because I've never been in a business relationship, right? Like, you're pretty much getting married, right, at this point. And it was like scary because I was never in this kind of setting, right? Like how professional everything was. And I was looking at the tree house and I was looking at all the different angles that you provide. And it was like, man, this is what I've been trying to build, right? Like on a very, very small scale. And then Larry's just blown it up huge. And so to see all these components and the people behind all this stuff making it happen was like a no-brainer. My wife even said yes before I did, right? And so seeing all the different avenues was like mind-blowing. So when we were building Bright Brothers, we were taking the fundamentals that I've, kind of built, if you will, over the last 18 years and really put it into this larger program. Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and we have the training in this industry like no other. The support with Contractor Nation, like everything we have is we poured our heart and soul into so that you can learn, quickly, and you're gonna take it and run with it.
It takes a long time to get good at something, right? Especially something as multidimensional as, a growing business. You've got to have recruiting right, you got to have training right, you got to have marketing and, appointment setting and production and service and accounting. And, the longer you're at it, the better you get. But when you get involved with other people in a franchise who have done it before, hopefully what you want to do is cut off many years off your learning curve. So if you could do it yourself and get to a certain level in 15 years, or what if you can get there in 3 or 5, right? You're cutting off 10 years of your learning curve, 10 years of your life, and you're gonna make far less mistakes, and you're gonna have, a resource to call, to ask questions, and that's really, really valuable. So that's the whole idea, is that we've learned and now we're going to teach. And the students, if you will, are going to save many, many years off their learning curve. And that's super important. And not only from a financial perspective, but from a time perspective. Because, I say that the greatest risk is not that you make mistakes. The greatest risk is that you run out of time. We're only going to live so long, right? So if you can get to, a high level of success early in your career and then just string those years together without screwing it up, you can have tremendous fruits of, being an entrepreneur, of owning a business that accumulate. But if you just kind of ramp up so slow and finally, in your 60s, you figure a couple things out, it's just not the same life.
I always think of talking to my past self, right? And entrepreneurship can be very lonely. And you're doing this thing, you're grinding it, you're trying to provide for your family, and you can feel all alone. And it's like, am I doing this? Am I doing it correctly? Like, there's no way to measure it sometimes. You're just out there, right? Providing. And so with a network of franchisees, you can see what they're doing. You can call somebody, phone a friend, right? And have that conversation, or, just get something off your shoulders is huge and invaluable.
For a home service company, home improvement company to be successful, you got to have leadership, the right leader thinking the right things. That's the number one thing, because the business will never outperform the leader. And so we have that in our School of Entrepreneurship training and all our models. That's been developed over 40 years. Then it's marketing. We got to make the phone ring. And we think we're as good or better at it than anybody, anywhere, for home improvement, home service contractors getting the phone to ring. Then we need sales training. And we've got it here between us. So with those, we're good to go. So whenever anybody comes for a tour here at Contractor Nation, they are just amazed at what we do, the resources that we have here, and they've never seen anything like it. I mean, we have people that have been around to all the big franchise farms and so forth, and they just are blown away with our level of expertise, commitment, resources, authenticity. Everybody's smiling around here. They walk around, they say, everybody's smiling, like everybody's happy, I said, wow, they're not happy everywhere else? Oh, no.
I think it's all about the people that you surround yourself with. You're leveling people up. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room type deal, right? And with your team, it's the culture. It's bringing them along, seeing them, like having them buy a house or buy the car or whatever it may be for that team member. And so for me, in the beginning, it was for the money. It was like, I wanted to do $1 million, right, in my business. And then your why changes. And so now it's not for the money. The money will come, right? The money comes. It's about the people and the legacy that you're leaving for your kids. So it really, for me, is, not going anywhere, that's for sure. Love what I do. I'm really passionate about what I do. I live and die, breathe, soft washing. That's it.
One day Austin comes back in with this name Bright Brothers, and I was like, that's amazing. And because it speaks to cleaning, it speaks to Christmas lights, but also one of my sort of branding rules is that people like to do business with people. And so I thought it checked all the important boxes of saying what you do, being memorable, and inspiring trust. And I thought it was just like, the clouds parted and the sun came down and the angels sang, and it was Bright Brothers.